Hello, welcome teachers. I can already see that you all have joined the webinar. Thank you so much for joining early. Just a heads up, can you clearly see me and hear me? Am I visible and audible clearly? Hello, ma'am. Hello, sir. Welcome here. I just wanted to confirm, am I audible and visible clearly? Okay, thank you so much for confirming. Good evening, sir. Okay, till the time everybody is joining in, you all will tell me how was your day, how you all have been, how has been work. I'm just fixing a couple of things here. By that time, all of you can type in the chat box how you all have been, how was the day. Good evening, Prerna ma'am. How are you? Hello, Asha ma'am. Hello, Prerna ma'am. Hello, sir.
अच्छा तो मैम ये कह रही है कि मैं ज्वाइन करने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ तो होमवर्क ऐप वाला ना आईडी वगैरह मैडम क्या क्या देनी गूगल की आईडी गूगल की आईडी मांग रहे गूगल की आईडी दो कैसे वो डिपेंड करता है ना उन तरह से बोलते हैं क्या आईडी मांग रहा है मुझे क्या पता क्या अगर वो गूगल की आईडी मांग तो आप अपना गूगल की आईडी भर दो गूगल की जीमेल आईडी और गूगल का पासवर्ड अगर वो कुछ और डिपेंड करता है ना वो क्या मांग पता है अच्छा हमारी जो आईडी होता है और पास क्या हुआ पैर में जीमेल पासवर्ड होता है ना नहीं नहीं वैसे वो करना है मुझे ऐसे ये करना है मुझे अपने पैर में अच्छा जीमेल पासवर्ड अच्छा जीमेल पासवर्ड
we just have to wait for a few more minutes to so that all the participants can join in, and then we can quickly begin with the webinar. So I hope all of you are aware of the topic of the webinar that we are going to conduct today. And I hope that you all find that topic interesting. So why don't all of you just share in the chat box that how was your experience at school today? How what was something new that you guys just did at school today? Or in general, how was the day till the time everybody else is joining in? Is there nobody who wants to just type in the chat box how was their day and how did it go?
Hello?
There is a big change among the children, especially in the name of behavior. Actually, we are seeing complete change after Corona.
That is true.
Maybe it may be because of inappropriate age, friendship, and other thing. That is the main thing we are facing. Fourth standard child having friendship with ninth standard child, and a 10th standard child is having friendship with a college student. So this completely changed the behavioral thing. Like modification has completely changed. That's going to be the biggest threat for everyone, especially teachers, parents, and all. They have lost their patience. In fact, actually, even today also I had an experience like they are not ready to accept anything, especially whenever we are pointing out whether they are getting low mark or something like that. Immediately they are focusing in such a way that they are being hurt or something like that. We are it's a big threat everyone is having now. This generation, unless otherwise we take some
ये देखना
initiative.
ऊपर वाले पे कितने अच्छे लग रहे हैं ऊपर खत गीत कुछ दिन डालेंगे
So that is true that we can see a lot of change in the students as well as in the parents. That could increasingly be because of the changing environment and the surroundings and the type of things that the students are actually watching and seeing around them. So a lot of behavioral changes and a lot of influence comes from the type of media that they're consuming, the type of things they are reading, and the kind of content they're exposed to. So maybe that is why a lot of them, they just tend to behave in a way they just look at things. That could be one of the reasons. So everybody else who has joined in, they can type in the chat box how their day has been, what they've been doing, and was there something new that they did at work today. So Jyoti ma'am is telling us that there have been like really nice scheduled webinars during vacation. Thank you so much, ma'am. And we hope that we just live up to the legacy of having good webinars scheduled all the time for you. And like meanwhile, all the participants are joining. I just request all of you to stay on mute and so that there is like no disruption in the communication and in the flow of the webinar. So I really request all the participants to stay on mute for the entire webinar, and all the mode of communication will be happening through the chat box.
Again,
अनम्यूट बंद करनी आएगा जी बंद करनी कैमरा
Face a lot of things. And during COVID, a lot of families have gone through so much stuff, which has actually left like sort of a traumatic effect on them. So maybe that is why the students have lost interest in teaching new things, in learning new things, or just, staying motivated in class. I am so sorry there is a problem with me and my presentation right now. So let's just quickly begin with the presentation. The topic for today's presentation is, Veena ma'am, no, my notification is not on. I'll just check. I'm really sorry it is taking a little bit of time, but I can assure you that by the end of the webinar, you all will definitely enjoy it. So finally, let's just get started with the webinar. So the topic for today's webinar is helping students who actually show behavior of concern, and what are the reasons why they show such behavior. Like in our regular life, we deal with so many things, we deal with so many students who we see, they just show a different behavior when they are in classroom or in a social setting. So this is exactly what we are going to learn about today, that why these students have to behave in a different way, why they have to be so disruptive, why do they have to cause indiscipline or nuisance in the class, and what are the reasons behind this type of behavior that they display, what are the things that actually trigger them or motivate them to be this way, to be indifferent from others, and how as a teacher you can support them at different levels, how you can be a helping hand towards them and help them improve their behavior. Moving on, I want to tell you all that this webinar is where you get certified. All the webinars that are there conducted by Homework app get a certificate for it. And like how you get a certificate for it is that you, like, towards the end of the webinar, we share an attendance form link with you, and that link is active for 15 minutes to collect your responses. And whenever you submit the attendance form, with that, within 24 hours, your form is generated. You don't have to worry at all. Towards the end of the webinar, we'll show you how to fill the attendance form, how to fill in all the details. It is not at all a tedious task, and you will definitely get certified if you stick till the end of the webinar, attend everything, get to know everything that we have to share, and and I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a very good experience for you. Uh, Akshika ji, yes, this webinar, like I didn't really understand what do you mean by is it recognized by CBSE, but this is something that actually a lot of schools are inculcating to help the students who have behavior of concern. So moving on, before we just shift to the fundamentals of it, I want you all to share an incident where you have seen students engaging in problematic behavior. All of you can just type in the chat box that, just one incident where you've seen a student behaving differently, a student who's not maintaining the decorum of the school, a student who's just either fighting or causing nuisance. You can just quickly share in the chat box what all you have seen with students. Stealing erasers, yes, that is there. Stealing erasers, pencils, everything. That is really common in the students, especially the younger ones. Fatima ji, how to submit the attendance form, we'll tell you about that towards the end of the webinar, so you'll have to stick till the end for it. Yes, getting distracted, punching us, threatening the friends. Just keep the response going. That's really nice. It's really good to see how and where this is headed. Yes, exact. Sheetalji, right? You mentioned it right that yes, they like to comment on each other. They like to shout at each other. One major thing that one of you picked right is that yes, the students are abusive to each other these days. Yes, Zarina ji, they really like to argue on different topics. So let's just move ahead that what exactly is behavior of concern and why do children behave like that? So behavior of concern is any type of behavior that the student displays where student is causing injury to self or to others, like the student is either harming themselves or the student is harming someone else, or the or it could be damaging the environment or school property or the equipment that are around in the school, or it could be interfering with the learning process of social relationships. So if the student is, fighting with someone else, if the student is hurting someone else, yes, if student is being abusive towards someone, if they are damaging the school property, if they are damaging the equipments around, or if the student is interfering, in the learning of social relationship or in the learning process that is followed in the class, that means the student is showing behavior of concern, and this has to be dealt with. So, moving on, there are four major types of behavior of concern. The first one is withdrawn behavior. The second one is disruptive behavior. The third one is violent behavior. And the fourth one is inappropriate social behavior. So, in the first one, withdrawn behavior, the students are actually unresponsive to the social setting that they are in. They are very distracted. They don't want to be there in that situation. And that is what encourages them to behave in a certain way where they don't have to deal with the people around, they don't have to deal with that surrounding. So they just behave negatively in such a setting only because they don't want to be present in a situation and they want to withdraw from that particular social situation. The second one is disruptive behavior. Disruptive behavior is seen very common in the younger children who are, just going to their uh, nursery or fifth, sixth grade. This is very common in these students. This is commonly recognized by, yelling in the classroom, screaming in the classroom. Disruptive behavior causes a lot of ruckus in the classroom. It disturbs the entire classroom, and it is because the student does not want to deal with it. Like they just have it in their head that we have to behave that way, and that is why it happens. It is most common in younger children. The next one is violent behavior. As the name suggests, violent behavior is when the students are fighting with each other, when the students are harming each other, where any kind of damage is involved. That is what is called behavior. And it is mostly like either the student is injuring themselves, either the student is fighting and harming someone else. It could be causing damage to the environment, to the things that are there in the school or the equipment that is around. The next one is socially inappropriate behavior. In socially inappropriate behavior, things like stealing someone else's stuff and not and inappropriate conversations, these things come if the student is stealing something from someone else, if the student is inappropriately touching someone else, if the student is initiating inappropriate conversations with someone, that is what comes under socially inappropriate behavior. So moving on, I want to ask you all, why do you think the students create trouble in classroom or in a social setting? Why do you think they do that? What encourages them to be this way? What encourages them to behave like this? Just mention it in the chat box. Why do you think they do it? Yes, as Krishna ji said, they want to draw attention. As Vilsi ji said, that they are showing disinterest. Zarina ji, yes, it's because of adolescent age. Yes, Sheetal ji, you are also right. That there is a lot of lack of attention, and because they want to do something exciting, they feel that okay, this is our kick, and this is what we're going to do. Only because it just is something really different from others. Do you think a lot of students just try to disturb the class only because they feel okay, this is very cool behavior and what would get us popular in school? That is what they would do. Because back then, when I was in school, when I was a kid, a lot of people used to do that. Okay. So a lot of you have pointed out a lot of things that are correct. So let's just dive into the various reasons as to why students behave this way. So students behave this way because one of the reason is they want to get social attention. Like a lot of you said, and like we all have heard that, oh, this person is doing this only because he wants attention. They're just attention seekers. They constantly want external validation. Yes, that is true. So it doesn't really matter what kind of attention they're getting. Is it positive or is it negative? What kind of reaction are they getting out of people? Only the feeling that, okay, our certain kind of behavior is leading to an external response, that is very satisfying to them. And only because of that, they tend to behave in a way that is just getting them any kind of social attention. Another thing could be to get something tangible. So, as teachers or as parents, you must know that your child would just start crying if you don't get them something that they want. Your child would create a lot of trouble or would throw a lot of tantrums because they want something. So, for a lot of people, tangible things like toys, a certain food item, or a piece of clothing, very important. And just that desire to get that something, they really like, they behave in a way that is not actable. They behave in a negative way, or they just compel someone else just by the means of their behavior to get them that thing. The desire to get something tangible motivates them to behave in a way that would compel the other person to just do it. Okay, my voice is breaking. I'll just check it. Is my voice still breaking, or I'm clearly audible to all of you? Can everybody just, okay, I'll just check once again. Is my voice still breaking? Is it still not clear? Okay, so my voice is better now. Okay, so continuing that, just the desire to get something tangible motivates them to behave in a particular way that is not really good. But yeah, that is their own motivation to do it. A lot of students adapt to a behavior which is not good to escape from a situation. Like I said, a lot of people, just they do it or they behave in a certain way to get social attention. Same ways, certain people don't want attention at all. They just want to avoid things. They want to escape from things. That is why they just behave in a particular way where if any situation they are in is not interesting to them, is not rewarding them, to just is not as good to them as it should be, then they will just completely avoid it. For example, a lot of students don't find it, really interesting to go to classroom daily. They don't want to sit in the classroom, or they don't want to go to the school at all. So they start behaving in a way in front of their parents that they just have to avoid going to school constantly, and they don't have to face school at all. Another reason as to why students behave in a particular way is because they want, like, they get sensory pleasure out of it. It does not matter that what is the thing, or it does not matter how they're affecting the external environment. Just because they're getting a sensory pleasure out of it, they do it. It is completely internal, and it has nothing to do with the external surrounding. For example, head banging, for example, screaming. These things are something that satisfies the student internally, mentally. That is why they just continue to behave like that. And
all these behavior could seem very pointless and annoying to others, but to them it is satisfying. A lot of students also adapt this kind of behavior to, just escape from anxiety or a stressful situation. That is their own way to deal with it, and that is why they start behaving in this way. Another major reason could be family problems. If, like, we all know, a child learns what they see. So if there are any behavioral concerns in the family, if the way the family is behaving at home, that is how the child adapts it. If the behavior of the family is not right, is not appropriate, it has a direct influence on the child, and that is how they just learn to behave in that certain way. For them, only because they've been watching it from a very long time, it is something that is really normal, and they think that, okay, this is how I am supposed to be. Another reason is mental health issues. Mental health issues like ADHD, like anxiety, like depression, like OCD, or like on any other major mental health issue can also lead to behavioral concerns in the students. This can also lead to them behaving in a negative way, them behaving in a disruptive manner, and why, and like this could also be a major reason as to why they are not fitted in a social environment so well. Moving on. Now, there are different stages of behavior of concern. Like, behavior of concern is not something that, just a student start behaving in a particular way, or it's not just about one particular activity or incident. It has its own phases, and then it occurs in a flow. There is a pattern to it. So the first phase is the green phase. Green phase is also known as the proactive phase. In proactive phase, the students are very calm, they are very happy. And this is the phase where there are the highest chances that they can engage with you on a more positive and meaningful note. So the aim in this phase is to help the student as much as we can, because whatever solutions we are providing to that student, whatever changes that we are trying to bring at that student, in this phase, the student will be more acceptable of it. The student would want to do it, and they would not be creating any problem about it. The second phase is the amber phase. It is also called the active phase. In this phase, a student is anxious, a student is distressed, a student does not feel right. Anxiety and being distressed are the early signs of warning that you can see in the student. Actually, in amber phase, it is like a build-up for the next phase. It is where the student is showing all the symptoms that, yes, from this, the situation can escalate to something that is much bigger and much worse. And in this phase, the aim is to, just help the student at the maximum, help the student at a rapid pace, so that the student goes back to the green level as soon as they can, and the chances of crisis and the chances of damage reduces. The next phase is the red phase. Red phase is also known as the reactive phase. Now, red phase is where the actual damage happens. Red phase is where, the act of damage happens. For example, if the student is fighting, if the student is just ruthlessly beating someone up, that is the reactive phase. That is where we can see the act of damage. And in this stage, it is very important that the student is helped as fast as we can, so that the damage can be under some control and does not get worse. And the student has to be given a lot of care and support, and at a rapid pace, so that they can go back to the green phase where they are calm and relaxed. Another phase is the blue phase. It is also called the post-reactive phase. In this phase, the damage has already been done. The incident has already happened. But we have to be very careful, because there are high chances that from the blue phase, the student can shift back to red phase again. That is why in the curve, you can see that the blue phase has like the arrow also goes upward and the arrow also goes downward, because things can again escalate to reactive phase from the post-reactive phase. Next we have, like, I want to know, what would you do if a student in your class is showing a behavior of concern? What are the things that you would do to help them, or what are the measures that you would just adopt if you see someone showing such kind of behavior? You can just type it in the chat box. Yes, you need to understand why they are showing this behavior. Yes, Akshika ji, we can counsel them. Yes, we can inform their parents about it. That can also be done. Shija, you're very right that we have to be very, very supportive of those children, because all these things are really sensitive to deal with. So we need to consider a lot of things, before we take a step towards finding a solution to it. Akshika ji, yes, we have to be very, very, very patient when we are dealing with such kids, because we don't know what really is triggering them, and we don't know what we just have to do, and we have to be very careful with it. So a lot of you has given a lot of responses, and these responses are just right. All of you are on the right track. We need to give them attention. We need to give them personal care. We need to counsel them. So let's just dive more into all these things. So how can you help them as a teacher? All these things that are there on the screen, these are the first level of support that we can do. So whatever I'm telling now is the first level of support that can be given to the children who are showing behavior of concern. The first one is developing positive relationship with the children. So children really like it when someone is trying to build a good relationship with them, be it their parents, be it their teachers, be it their friends. If someone is, just greeting them every day, if someone is asking them that, how are you doing well, what do you need, can I help you? If someone is catering to their personal needs, they feel very good about it. They feel that, yes, we are acceptable to others. And that is how, they start changing and adapting to a different set of behavior, which is more positive and good for them as well as for the others. Another one is ensuring rules and routines are clear, consistent, and predictable. So we all have rules and regulations in our institution, in the place that we go. So there is a decorum that we have to maintain in any kind of social setting. So if the students are made clear about it, if the students know this is what is to be done, and if they know they are, like they know the consequences of it, if they know that, okay, this kind of behavior is going to impact the other person in a certain way, which may not be right, if they understand it, and if all these things are made very clear to it, then there are high chances that a lot of problems related to their behavior must be solved, because then they are made to understand that actions are leading to what kind of things, and what kind of consequences are just happening only because they are behaving in a certain way. Another one is developing a stimulating program in which children are highly engaged. So the children who show behavior of concern, for them, you all can have a different program or a different activity planned, so that they are highly engaged into something, they are occupied, and we have to make sure that these activities are really interesting to them, so that they are occupied with it. They are not focusing on the other triggers that are around them. They are not getting any other intention, or they're not just doing something that is causing a disruptive behavior in the classroom or in the environment. So if certain activities are planned for them to keep them engaged, then it will be a very big help to them. Teaching direct social and emotional skills comes under second level of support that we can give to the students. So if the first level of support have been adapted by you, and if it is not working, then you can adapt to the second level of support. In second level of support, you teach them cooperation skills, you teach them emotional literacy, and you teach them social problem solving. For example, a student is having trouble to talk to a set of people, but he really wants to go and play with them. So what do that person do? You can tell them that how you should communicate to them, what is the right way of talking to them, and how emotions should be communicated between two people, what are, how they can deal with the social problems that are happening around them. If students are, told these things pretty well, if they are helped with all these things, then also it helps them a lot to improve their behavior of concern. Next, we have individual support for specific students. This is the third level of support that can be given, and it is implemented only when the first two levels of support are not working. So individual support means that a team of teachers targets the individual students who actually need a lot of care and a lot of attention, a lot of support from the teacher's side. That is when the teachers actually talk to the family members of the student. They get to know that, okay, what are the reasons behind why this student is behaving in a particular way? What are the triggers as to what leads to the student behaving in this way? A careful assessment of the behavior pattern of the student is done. The student is being taught social and emotional skills at a more deeper level in this level of support, and they are helped at a more extensive level. Another thing that teachers can do, which I personally think that a lot of students enjoy a lot, is adapting to a different environment. So adjusting physical and social environment so that student does not get triggered could be really, really helpful for the student and the teachers, because a lot of students don't really find it interesting to just study in the classroom or just be restricted to the books. They really want to, go outside and study. They really want to see, okay, whatever we are learning, how are we implementing it in the external world? So that is where the students are more engaged, and that is what keeps them actually happy also with the studies. And again, they don't behave in a way that is disrupting in those cases, because they are actually enjoying what is happening around them. So we are pretty sure that these methods will definitely help you in understanding how you can help the children who show behavior of concern, and then what are the reasons why they are doing it. And these methods are very well researched, they are tried, they are tested. So if you come across with someone who is dealing with all these things and who's dealing with behavior issues in school, you can help them by just implementing all these methods. So the last activity that we are going to do here is that you all need to mention one key takeaway from this webinar. You all need to mention what you liked about it and what was that new thing that you learned today from this webinar. Just type it in the chat box. Let's just go through it. Yes, Zarina ji, today's concept. It was something that is not very regular with mainstream teaching. Come on, everybody, let's just quickly tell. There must be something that you learned from this webinar today. Yes, Ankita ji, we need to handle the students patiently. Yes, we have to do it. That is very well said, Akshika ji, very well said, that dealing with students who have difficulties is not mission impossible. You just have to be a little patient. You just have to give it a little more care and attention, and then your problems can be solved. Yes, Ankita ji, it is very, very important to use a positive feedback. It is very important to be empathetic towards students because all these things are very sensitive, and the kind of emotional or mental impact of the activities that goes on the student is not really something that can be comprehended by everyone. So that is where we have to be very empathetic towards them. Yes, Pooja ji. So it is like we need to know how to manage a class that has all different types of student, and we need to see that how one class can have that diversity as well. So thank you so much for all the amazing responses, everyone. I am really glad that all of you really learned a lot of things from this webinar, and this was very helpful to you. So now is the chance, like now is when you get certified. So I will share my screen with you, and I will tell you how you have to fill the attendance form. And after I have shown you that how you have to go ahead in filling the form, I will share the link of the form in the chat box. Remember that the link for the attendance form will be open only for 15 minutes, and you will get your certificates within 24 hours after you have filled the attendance form. So this is the attendance form that you all will have to fill. I will just quickly tell you how you have to go ahead with it. So you have to be very, very careful of the details that you are filling in, because these are the details that will be displayed on your certificate. So make sure that you are filling the right name. I will fill my name over here. And giving your right WhatsApp number is very important, because if there is any problem in the way of communication through mails, then our team would contact you through your WhatsApp number. So it is very important that you give us your right WhatsApp number, so that if anything goes wrong, we can just directly contact you. Your email ID is the most important thing that you have to fill, because this is how your certificates come to you. Your certificates will reach you through your mail. So having the right email ID is very, very important. And then you can go ahead filling in all the other details, like your gender, your institute's name, and the designation that you have in your school. Since I don't teach, or I am not a part of the school, I'll just fill it other. And that's done. So this is where you can see all the details that you have filled in the form. You need to check it very carefully. All the details over here cannot be wrong, because this is very important, like your email ID or name, that is something that will be there on the certificate. And obviously you would not want that your certificate should have the wrong details. And if the email ID is incorrect, then your certificate won't get generated and we won't be able to do anything about it. So just make sure that all the details that are filled are correct. If you can see that any of the details that you filled in is incorrect, if there's any mistake, you can use these arrows in the form to just go back to that option and correct the mistake. And that's it. After this, you submit your form. I will now just quickly share the link of the form with you. So I have shared the link of the attendance form in the chat box. You all can start filling in the attendance form. Please remember that the attendance form is only active for 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, we won't be accepting any responses, and only the participants who have filled in the attendance form, who have submitted it correctly, will be getting their certificates. So your 15 minutes have started. You all can start filling in the form. If there's any doubt, you can just ask in the chat box. And meanwhile, everybody else is filling in the form. You all can also tell us in the chat box, how did you like this webinar? And did you find it relatable with your regular students? And how have you dealt with it in the past? The form link is there in the chat box. You all can start filling it in. Let me just check, is it not open? Okay, we can see that the participants have already started filling in the form. Like Shivamji said, he has filled the form, so I don't think so there's a problem with the form link. Okay, so everybody else is filling the form, so that means the form link does not have a problem. Thank you so much, everybody who's filling the form. Thank you so much, everybody who has attended the webinar. If there's anything that you want to share with us, if there's anything that you want to tell us, you can just tell in the chat box. Thank you so much, everybody who is filling the form. Thank you so much. I am really glad that all of you really found it useful. It was helpful to all of you. And I'm pretty sure that all of you are going to implement all these strategies in your school right now, and a lot of students are going to benefit from it. Thank you so much, Gunitji, that you are looking forward to such sessions. And we promise you that we are going to keep coming up with interesting and good sessions for all of you. Just stay connected with us, stay tuned to us, and trust me, you all are going to enjoy the upcoming webinars, the upcoming content a lot. I am really glad, Vilsiji, that the session actually gave you insight and taught you something new today. About the recording, it will be live on YouTube, so you can just check it on the YouTube channel of the homework app. It will be just posted there. The link of the attendance form is there in the chat box, guys. You all can fill it. If there is anybody who has not filled it, just fill it soon, because you are going to get your certificate only if you fill in the attendance form. Happy Diwali to you too, Sheetalji. Thank you so much. I wish you have a very happy Diwali and a safe Diwali. Okay. The link of the YouTube channel, you can just type in the homework app on YouTube and you will get it as your first suggestion. We have just last 7 to 8 minutes to fill the attendance form. So everybody who's not filled it, fill it right now. and just this is your chance to get your certificate for attending this webinar. Anybody who wishes to have the recording, this entire session will be uploaded on YouTube. On YouTube, you can just go and search the homework app and you will get all the webinars, not just this, all the other webinars there. So you don't have to worry about the recording. If there is anybody who wants to share something else, they can share in the chat box. If there's anybody who has not filled in the attendance form, please fill it soon. It is going to stop accepting responses like really soon now. So fill in, everybody. Thank you so much, each and every participant, for attending the webinar. It was really great to have all of you. It was really great to have shared such information with you that is really helpful to teachers and students in daily life. And this is not something that, you know, is regularly being talked about, but this is something that very important. And it is really important for us to know all of it. So yes. So we have last 5 to 6 minutes to, you know, just closing the attendance form. Make sure all of you have filled it. Thank you so much, Veena ji. Happy and safe Diwali to you too. May you and your family have a very great time. Is there anything that anybody has to ask? Just last 5 minutes left. So I'm hoping everybody has filled in the attendance form, because if you don't fill in, you know you're not going to get your certificate. So it's very important that you fill the attendance form. Thank you so much, Vanna ji. Happy Diwali to you. Have a safe Diwali. Have a lot of fun with your family. Yes, I am constantly sharing the link of the attendance form again and again. You can fill it and your certificates will reach you within 24 hours. So you don't have to worry about it. Yes, Shivamji, your suggestion has been noted. We will definitely try to incorporate it in our app. So I hope all of you are filling in the attendance form because it's very important. I am constantly sending the link on the chat box. Please make sure that you fill it. We have last 3 to 4 minutes to just closing the responses. Meanwhile, the participants who have filled in the attendance form, they can tell us how they are planning to spend their Diwali. What are their plans in the chat box? And for the participants who have not filled in the attendance form, please, please, please fill it. I hope all of you enjoyed the session. If there's any feedback you want to give, you can just give it in the chat box and it will be noted and we'll try to improve on it or just incorporate it. That is all the essence of Diwali, right? Just worship and having relatives at home, decorating the entire house. That is such a beautiful thing to do with our family and relatives. So we have last 2 minutes left to fill in the attendance form. Everybody who has not filled it in, just go fill the attendance form, submit it. This is the way to make sure that your certificate is reaching you. This is what makes it count. So just fill in the attendance form. Everybody, please make sure that you have submitted the attendance form with the right details. I hope all of you checked all your details, your name, your email ID, your number before submitting it, because it is very important. That is what is going to be on the certificate and that is how it is going to reach you. So it's really important that you mention all the correct details. So last 1 minute of accepting responses for the attendance form. Everybody, just quickly, everybody who's not done it yet, just do it. So time is up and the form will not be accepting any new responses now. I hope that all of you have filled in the attendance form with the right details. And I hope that you all had a really fun session. I hope you got to learn a lot of new things and I'm pretty sure that you are going to implement it in your school. Thank you so much for being a part of this webinar. Thank you so much for staying connected with us. We had a lovely session with all of you. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Have a happy evening and happy Diwali to all of you in advance. Have a great vacation time. Thank you so much.